Hi guys, my name is Wendy and I work at the Central Branch Library. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a beach in a jar. So we have these little jars and we're going to pour some plain white sand in and then we can mix. If you can tell, there are actually two colors in here. If you want to make yours a little bit more vibrantly different, you can do that as well. And we're going to start with your sand. Now you have plenty enough sand for this, but you're going to need to divide it into three parts. So think about it this way: you want two colors and then you want the white on the bottom. So first thing we're going to do is pour some sand into our little jar. And when you do this, and to avoid making too much of a mess, close the Ziploc most of the way. Now, depending on how much white sand, you can add more, do it about a third or quarter. I'm going to add a little bit more. Alright, so now we're going to set this guy aside for a while. We've got to dye our sand. Now, in order to dye your sand in two different colors, you're going to need to put half of it into the other Ziploc bag. So again, we're going to try to measure out. You should have plenty of extra sand, so don't worry if you don't make it completely even. It's not that big of a deal. Alright. Now we are going to dye our sand. Now you're going to have pipettes of food coloring. I have right here blue and green. You're going to mix them by closing the Ziploc. I'm rubbing all of the food coloring into the sand, and that's going to tell you what color you're going to have. Alright, so we've got a nice dark blue here. If you want it lighter, just put a few drops of food coloring in it. This one, I'm not sure how it's going to come out. Let's see. I got some green and some blue. Okay, now this is exactly how I like it. But at this point, if you tried to put that sand into here, which I found out the hard way, the food coloring is just going to seep into the white sand and dye it completely all one color. So what we've got to do is we've got to let our sand dry. So that's why you have these two little paper plates here. Alright, just spread it out. This is going to take, I don't know, a long time to dry. So you might have to wait overnight. You might only have to wait a couple hours, depending on how much food coloring you used. So what I would do is, you see now it just looks like weird and clunky. Well, it's acting like wet sand. So you want it to get like this again, and it's pretty easy to tell when it does that. When you actually, it starts drying, it'll start unclumping and acting like regular sand. So that's how you know when it starts moving around really smoothly. So we're going to pause here and wait for our sand to dry. Okay, so this actually took about a day and a half to dry. So I would suggest when you do this at home to maybe use a little bit less food coloring with your sand. But you can tell it's dry because it's moving around. It's not stuck to the plate. So now we're going to put our colored sand in the bottle. Alright. I have made a little paper funnel, and there's a link to a video showing you how to do that. You can either use a paper funnel, or you can put your sand back in your bags. and snip off an end to be able to put it in there really easy. So I'm gonna do some green first. More blue. Ooh. And this is why you might want to put some newspaper down, because that was pretty bad. I got sand everywhere now. So I would say definitely put down some newspaper or some plastic wrap in order to keep that from happening. Once you're done with that, you have a nice little beach in a jar. Now you can take a toothpick or a Q-tip or whatever and try to move the pattern, say if you wanted to move them different layers of pattern with the colors. If you have any tiny stones or beads or whatever and you want to put it in there, that would be cute as well. After that, all you got to do is put a little bit of glue around the top of your jar and let it dry. And you have a beach in a jar. All right, thanks for watching, guys.